For us, athletic trainers as a whole love to be behind the scenes. We, aren't in the spotlight too much, and so it is nice to have a month to recognize ourselves, advocate for ourselves and our profession of what we can do. And I think especially after the pandemic, everything that everybody has endured, especially athletic trainers, have endured a lot, just with the extra workload, extra responsibilities, everything that we've never signed up for but got handed to or took on so that sports could happen. Really just shows the importance of having athletic trainers within athletics all across the board. And so it's just nice to step out of our comfort zone a little bit and highlight what we do and who we are, and the importance of what we do.
Talking to your staff, certainly it's also ending the stigma a little bit of everybody thinks taping ankles, handing water bottles, but there's so much more all-encompassing aspects of what you and your staff do each and every day.
So much so, yeah. It's funny. I mean, there's so many memes out there of what everyone thinks an athletic trainer is, of the water bottles and taping and all of that. But we really are a full healthcare provider that really takes care of all the healthcare needs. Physical, emotional, mental health is a big component of our care. And we're there from day one throughout the whole process. A lot of times we are the first one on the scene of an injury, the first ones to evaluate an injury and diagnose, and make the a correct treatment plan, whether that means a referral to a physician or other specialists. But we really are hands-on with that athlete from the very beginning all the way through until they get back on the field or the court, which is one of the best parts of this job. But really, it's nice that we are that holistic healthcare provider from start to finish for these student athletes.
What was the reason? All of us have a why.
Yeah.
What's your why? What was the reason that you decided this was the career path?
Yeah, so my career path might be a little bit boring and bland for some, because I knew in high school I wanted to be an athletic trainer. I started observing the high school athletic trainer where I went in Virginia, and so I just knew right away that's what I wanted. I think for me, what lured me to athletic training, or what I knew I wanted to do, was I wanted to help people. I think first and foremost, helping people, I get a lot of joy out of that. But then secondly, I was intrigued by how the human body worked and how it didn't work, and what happened, how it adapted and compensated with an injury, and how your body reacts and kind of heals itself, and kind of that process physiologically. So between the two parts, that's kind of what latched me to athletic training. But I think first and foremost, it was definitely the desire to help people.
Stops along the way, certainly you were at Elon, you were at Toledo, and now here. Are there mentors that kind of really inspired you to kind of then pass it on to the next group that you're now leading?
Yeah, I think every step of the way you pick up some guidance and help. I think first and foremost right now, I think a lot of the Max Sports Medicine fellow, my peers, are great mentors for me currently. But along the way, I think Marty Baker, one of my professors and mentors from Elon, we still keep in touch, and he's great. Great perspective. He's been doing this for many years, so I appreciate his wisdom and guidance. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say Brian Jones from Toledo. He is kind of gave me a lot of the administrative responsibilities and the guidance to kind of take on a leadership role. And I also think that a lot of my MBA professors from Toledo, Clint Longnecker is a big one, that kind of provide a lot of guidance and wisdom for me, of just more of the leadership, of not thinking of it as a specifically athletic training, but a different perspective, and kind of especially with the leadership pieces. So I think I take a bits and pieces of leadership and mentorships from every step of the way. And I am definitely thankful of my board of directors that I have.
Much like a head coach, when you go from that assistant position to being the boss, it's a leap and a learning curve. How have you adapted to being now having to be the leader?
Yeah, so I think still learning that piece, getting better. I feel like every year, but I think you have to really rely on your staff and learn to delegate. I think for me that was the hardest part because you got to this chair by doing all of those things and wanting to do all those, learning to do all those tasks, and putting in the work. And so for now to be in this chair, to allow others and want others to do that has been a bit of a reprogramming, I would say. I mean, it's not, yeah, probably reprogramming because that's how we've been wired and how you've gotten to this point. So for me, it's kind of trusting your staff and knowing that we have a great athletic training staff. I'm very fortunate to lead this group, but giving them the responsibilities, wanting them or giving them the opportunities to try new things and new tasks so that they can get to this chair that I'm in and help that they can obtain their professional goals. So I think that for me has been the biggest challenge of not just jumping right in, of like taking a step back and letting others jump in first, and helping them kind of grow and through those processes. So that's definitely been the biggest challenge, I think. But I've also learned it's important to ask questions, whether to others and your peers. So if we're having the problem here on our campus, most likely it's happening on other campuses and other people are fighting the same battles. And so what are they doing that works well? What has been disastrous? And kind of how can we shape the wheel between everybody, and not just like we have to do this in silos and work together. So I think the MAC Sports Medicine group is great with that, very collaborative and cohesive group. And so I'm very fortunate that I have those peers to help rely on me.
Common thread for when talk to the staff is certainly they talked about the family atmosphere and being able to bond and rely on the next person. How important is that every day for you to have a group together that's tight and close knit?
In athletic training, I think it's essential. I mean, we spend so many hours together that it's really nice if you work with people that you like and hang out with your friends at work. And so it's really, I think, really important for us that we can like each other and spend, because you have long hours and things come up, schedules change. And so, one of the things for our group that impresses me every day is the willingness of others to help out. Like we have a schedule change, everybody will help in to help to get that covered, or whatever it happens, special events, whatever that needs extra coverage, it gets covered. Like we just have such a hands-on approach and all hands on deck, and everybody helps out, and it's just. It doesn't happen everywhere. I know that. I've been places where it's not like that. And so it's really refreshing that we're able to come into work, have a good time, know when to work hard and when to play hard, and really just everyone's willing to help get what you need done.
In June, it's going to be the 50th anniversary of the passage of Title IX, and working with female sports, being a female in athletics, could you imagine a world that didn't exist like this, that those before you had to really fight for to get to this point?
No, honestly, I can't imagine, but I do know I don't think the fight is over, and I still think it's happening. I think it's on a much smaller scale, so I can't imagine what the fight was before, but I do, I think they're, like any fight, I think it's we've learned a lot, and I think this movement has been great for women in athletics, and I think there's more to be done, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Anything that I didn't ask or you think's important for this week?
I just think it's really important. I think this pandemic has impacted everybody, and we talked about it earlier. But I think for athletic trainers, we really showed the versatility of what we do and how we work, and the mentality, all hands on deck, that everyone's willing to go above what our trained skill set, learn new skill sets of what that is, whatever that meant. But we really had to, our job really changed drastically during the heights of the pandemic. We went from taping ankles and doing rehabs and evaluations to, us doing a rehab video over a telehealth, over a video session, and learning the scopes of that, the reality of that. And how to, I talked about mental health during COVID and of our student athletes. And so and then also more important, most time consuming was the COVID testing and all the protocols of how to safely return. So I think that, this pandemic was obviously impacted everybody, but I think we really showed the versatility of what athletic trainers can do and how important we really are.